Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Packet Photography iRacing Midget Championship. We're here inside the River Spirit Expo Center, home of the world-famous Chili Bowl, and we've got an exciting race to bring here tonight here on Whiskey Oval TV. Hello, everyone. My name is Drake York. Joining me tonight is Alex Robinson. And Alex, when we come to the River Spirit Expo Center, we know we're always in for a good treat, and especially with this series, we're going to be in for a show tonight.
When you hear Chili Bowl, I think of three things: hard racing, a lot of slide jobs, and a flip counter. We had the discussion of how many flips we are going to see. I gave my guess of 5 or more. You didn't get a guess, and so what is your guess here?
Hopefully 0. I just want to see some good racing here tonight as qualifying well underway. Logan Rumsey right now the fastest at a 10.549. Trevor Myers second. Parmley is third. Rico Rolbs is third. Ethan Yu fifth. Timothy Smith sixth. Mason Inman seventh. Darren Stark eighth. Trent Wall ninth. And Brian Hughes the top 10 as qualifying rolls on here, as actually that will be the checkered. So Logan Rumsey will go quick time here inside the River Spirit Expo Center. Alex, not really that big of a surprise to see Logan atop the speed charts. I mean, he has been dominant this season in this series.
It's not surprising. When I look at just at heat race number 1 and some of the quick times, I'm not surprised. These guys in the midget ranks always looking good. But I gotta hop on the high horse here. The Pennsylvania Posse sets quick time.
And I'm not sure, or I am sure that's not the last time we'll hear Alex ramble on about the PA Posse. I can't blame him. I'd like to talk about the USAC guys, and I like to talk about guys from California. But anyway, set to go off here in heat race number 1, Logan Rumsey, Rico Rolbs, the front row, Mason Inman, and Brian Hughes back in row number 2. And then it's Austin Piper and Taylor Wineland for 6 starters here in heat race number 1 for the midgets. In confirmation from race control as well. Looks like we'll take every car out of the heat races into the feature, so it definitely eliminates some of that, I guess you'd call it, urgency we see a lot of the times here at the Chili Bowl, especially in the heat races. On prelim nights, you see a lot of people going the old Team Ez route, slide or die, in the Chili Bowl heats, trying to lock in the prelim show. And then same thing with the prelim main events. I mean, see that all the time here, but got to imagine with the car is scheduled to go to the feature, at least that will eliminate a little bit of that. But obviously, Alex, you want to position yourself in the best way possible for tonight's feature event here at the Chili Bowl. The pace track's going to dive off into the infield. Logan Rumsey and Rico Rolbs the front row. Rumsey brings us down. Green flag is out in heat race number 1.
Rumsey into turn number 1 and 2. Out he goes. The 41 machine, another good jump here. He is used to this on the front row, and he does it well, leading lap number 1, but Rico Robles and Mason Inman top 3.
They kind of go fence post formation, as Chad Krishner would say. Looking at the racetrack right now, it's getting a little bit slick down the bottom side of the racetrack. I think definitely once we work into this 10-lap heat race a little bit longer, we're going to see that line move out as you get a good finish point from Rico Rolbs' cars. Alex, as you can see, it's starting to get a little slick down the bottom, and already Rumsey venturing up high.
Rumsey going to try and rip the lip, but he goes bottom side here, as the bottom side looks to be the place to be. And if you watch the Chili Bowl Nationals, these early heat races, it's always the place to be. But when that top side kicks in, it'll be ready to rip that top.
And right now, the top 2 have really pulled away from third place Mason Inman. So it's a 2-horse race at the front of the field with 4 4 laps to go. Battle for third in the works now between Mason Inman and Brian Hughes. Once again, that's for the third spot. Hughes back in that bright pink and black machine.
Hughes trying to find a way around the top side there. Now he's going to try and run a little bit of a slider line, lifts the left front up, but here we go into the next turn, and that 2 machine still trying to catch up to 07. He's closing in distance, but the laps are closing as well.
Absolutely, Logan Rumsey saw lead out front as Hughes took a look to the inside of Inman, nothing doing there. And it's almost like at the Chili Bowl, once it widens out, it almost goes back to a one-groove racetrack for a little bit, and that's what you're seeing right here. White flag is out for Logan Rumsey. Almost a half a second advantage for your race leader.
And the 41 machine got the jump he needed, set quick time, and now he wins. Heat race number 1, Rico Robles. Mason Inman holds on to third there, but that battle, I think if we had 5 more laps, that battle for third heats up.
Absolutely. So Logan Rumsey right now on a crash course to sweep the night here inside the River Spirit Expo Center. We'll get him lined up for heat race number 2, field looking to grid. Bring up your lineup here, and there it is. Trevor Meyer and Ethan Yu on the inside, or excuse me, make up row number 1. Then it's going to be Darren Stark, Austin Jarouki back in row number 2. Garst and Jonathan Paquette will round out your field once again. 6 cars going 10 laps here for heat race number 2.
So I got to test a theory here, Drake. Every race that I've always called, if I pick a winner, they always wreck. I'm not going to pick a winner. I'm going to let you pick one. And if they wreck, I know I'm not by myself in this curse.
I mean, I haven't done too great so far. I have the one to watch segment with the USAC on flow stuff. I think I've won about 1 race. I've came close to a few other wins, and it just never fizzles out. So I don't want to jinx anybody either, so we're just going to be very neutral on this one as Trevor Meyer brings us down to the green flag. Ethan Yu, though, sails it off into turns 1 and 2, and he's going to come out with the lead.
As Yu and Meyer go side by side, Stark and Jarouki go side by side, as now we're about to have almost a 3-wide action going on here as battle for second is on between Stark, Garst, Meyer now.
Then Yu hangs on to the lead, but Stark has come into the picture now, rides the berm down low, trying to get a good drive, but here's Jarouki back behind him in a good race with Trey Garst. Jarouki up top, other way around, Garst down on the bottom side of the racetrack, but man, close quarters racing here once again for the 3rd spot in both these heat races.
Bottom groove looks to be the way around. Wait till this track widens up as UCU goes top side here, but everyone else going bottom side. So now venturing up is a little bit of a slider line there from Garst as we look at the 22 of Austin Jarouki.
And you really got a good idea what it's like to drive off at turn number 4 when you got some grip to it, and Austin Jarouki definitely had that at the top side. Could be the place to be, at least entry to middle. But it looks like a lot of these guys diming off as Jarouki sailed off a little too hard in there, got in the back of Garst. He still remains on the tail tank of the 64, or excuse me, the 44 as they ride off at turn number 4. 2 laps to go here in heat race number 2. And Jarouki's got a look on the outside. Doesn't look like it's going to happen this time down the backstretch, but he closes quickly in 3 and 4.
If he wants to make a move, will he make the move is the question, because the white flag is going to be out this time for Ethan Yu. And there you see Jarouki goes to the inside down the straightaway, now into the turn, still side by side, white flag in the air.
Jarouki has a nose in. In fact, they're side by side through turns 1 and 2. Jarouki with the drive off the corner. They can make contact into 3. Jarouki's going to get the spot. Garst into the wall, and Trevor Meyer slips away into 4th. Ethan Yu with heat race number 2 by over 0.6 of a second. Absolute barn burner down to the wire there between Garst and Jarouki. Jarouki ultimately claiming that 3rd spot, but wowzers. Intense racing at the front of the field is exactly what we expect here at the Chili Bowl.
Hard corner racing indeed, and it does not disappoint. Now, heat race number 3 has a little bit of pressure. Can they do what heat race number 1 and 2 have done?
That's the big question here, is we'll get them rolled off here. 5 cars set to take the track for heat race number 3. Cody Parmley and Timothy Smith, the winner with the next level 360s. completes the front row. Then it's Trent Wall, Kenny Miller, regular with the USAC East Coast Sprint Car Series, row 2. And then the third and final row by his lonesome will be Craig Silby in the 7. Once again, 10 laps. As we said, right now, all cars slated to go to the feature. As Cody gets a good start, Parmley leads him down to turns 1 and 2. Smith trying to hang tough on the top side, but it's going to be Parmley with the lead. Now Smith drives it deep into 3 and 4. He's going to give him a challenge, but lap number 1 will go to Cody Parmley.
Parmley goes bottom side still. Smith now going to go a little switcheroo here as side by side they go. Let's see which gets the run here. Still Parmley now, so he just shows that the top side and bottom side gave him the run, but a little slider from Smith gives him some more competition.
Smith definitely now has the bottom side of the racetrack. Question is, can he make use of it? And he answers that question in a hurry. Yes, he does. Slides up right in front of Parmley. They both get a good drive down the backstretch. Parmley's going to stick to that low to middle part of the speedway he was working earlier. Remember, no yellows in the heat races tonight. However, though, the feature will have caution flags thrown into him, as now it's going to be a 3-car race release. Trent Wall's throwing his hat in the ring.
Battle for the race lead as Smith, Parmley, and now Wall. 3 cars, 4 laps this time by to go as Parmley, Smith, Parmley takes the bottom side, takes back the race lead. Smith top side, but Wall still trying to gain some ground.
Cody Parmley definitely showing the bottom does have speed left, and he really stuck with it. Now Smith tries the crossover down the front stretch, catches the berm down to 1 and 2, and it's going to still be Cody Parmley with the race lead. Question is, can Trent Wall now really insert himself into this battle?
Battle is on here. White flag about to come out for Cody Parmley, Smith, and Wall. Wall still trying to get a run there out of the corner. Not going to get there. So this might be a 2-horse race here for the finish. Parmley, though, trying to hold the run into 3 and 4. Smith going to give it one last chance, but Cody Parmley going to take home heat race number 3. Timothy Smith in 2nd. Wall in 3rd.
It's going to be Kenny Miller and Craig Silby rounding out the field. Heat race number 3, and we're already down here into the feature. We're going to have a quick warm-up. Doesn't look like the track's going to get reset at all, Alex, but I believe that last heat race definitely showed that running through the slick can get you somewhere, like we saw Cody Parmley do. I mean, he got passed up top by Smith, and you think, well, you know, the top's got a lot more grip. Obviously, the line looks better up there. It's not as slick, and then all of a sudden, Cody Parmley slow rolls his way back into the picture, and he picks up the heat race win.
I think the top side's going to be in the early going of this feature. I think it's going to be the place to be. But with no reset, depending on how much they let them work this track in during this warm-up, we might have some haymakers. This track might widen up that you can have some 2-lane racing, but it's all going to depend on how these drivers use their warm-up time and how much wear and tear goes into this track.
And we don't exactly have a set time for the warm-ups. It kind of just varies whenever race control thinks the track taken enough for the time being, and the field feels like they've got enough time. And obviously, you know, not as much on track time as we were accustomed to, especially with the sprint car side of things, where we'll roll out 4 or 5 heat races, then fancy main events, and then all that other jazz. So the racetrack definitely has not taken a beating, but definitely the bottom side of the racetrack slicked up. And to your point, Alex, it's a lot more grippy up on the top side of the racetrack. You're looking at the speed shot. Look at some of the cars coming off the top side. Look how much grip they have off the corners. I mean, the right rear digging into the racetrack as they come off the corner. This is shaping up to be a nice little racetrack here inside the River Spirit Expo Centers. You're going to get a ride on board with Austin Piper. He's going to roll the bottom, but I mean, you could look up top there and look at some of the cars back behind him. That there is grip up there, but Piper making some good speed down the bottom side of the racetrack, and you get an idea of what it looks like on the right rear when they run the bottom. Now here's Ethan Yu on the top side, smacks the fence as he goes down the front stretch, but watch this car as they get some drive off the corner. Right rear sinks down on the racetrack, and yeah, just an incredible drive off the corner, but with great power comes great responsibility off these corners, as these midgets really can get away from these drivers in a hurry if they're not careful.
So you look at the times right now, 10.8, 10.9s are still coming off the charts here. and the track's taking some wear and tear. So once they get into that 11, as you see, Ropel's still running 10.9 here. So once they get in that 11, 11.2, 11.3 times, that's when the track is going to be at one of the most raciest points of slide jobs will be a factor at that point. And we've seen it in the Chili Bowl many times over and over again. Even the Tulsa shootout, Team has said it best. It's slide or die. And well, most of the time, if you slide, you could win the race.
Absolutely. And Jimenez, I think, gave one of the best interviews to Scotty Cook in Chili Bowl history. And he crashed out of his prelim night feature, and Scotty asked the natural question, Jimenez, how you doing? As he was walking off the racetrack, and Jimenez said, well, I'll paraphrase. He said, I'm fantastically peachy right now, is what he said, but not that F word that I used right there, if you catch my drift.
Timez will always have the greatest interviews. I swear, no matter if he wrecks, wins, no matter what, Timez might be one of the greatest interview givers you can ever listen to.
Funny you mention that, because he also helps other drivers give good interviews. I remember particularly this year at Ocala Raceway Park, USAC Sprint Cars, him and Jake Swanson were being and banging coming down to the line. And, you know, obviously a little frustrated when you lose a race that closely. And, I mean, it was a qualifier. It wasn't a feature or anything major like that, but I think it only offered up like a few extra points to win the qualifier or something like that. It was February. That was a while ago. It's April. But point of the story is Nick and Timez came down to the wire in that heat race, or excuse me, qualifier. And Jake gets out of the car, and man, Jake looks at me as I'm waiting to give him an interview, and he looks pumped. I was like, oh, he might be pretty excited about this one. And line, I'll never forget it. Jake goes, yeah, I asked him, you know, how'd you do that? He's taking me through, but he really caught my attention when he said, he's just mad he didn't win. I've told Jake he needs to make T-shirts out of that. That was pretty funny.
That's phenomenal.
Jake Swanson, you know, channeled his inner Timez. I was so proud of him because Jake, known Jake for a long time now. I think first time I really met Jake was like 2014. So I've known Jake for quite a while, and I not think he was going to say something like that. But actually, Jake, a good supporter of all the Firm Motorsports stuff. He's actually a sponsor here with Jonathan Paquette and the Midget. Sponsors the Apex Auto Glass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint Cars here on iRacing, which is under the Firm Motorsports banner. So Jake Swanson with Jake Swanson Shock Technologies, excuse me. Very big supporter of the stuff here on iRacing. We really appreciate Jake and all the support. And if you're in the business of needing some shocks done, definitely give Jake a call. I mean, he's one of the best to do it, absolutely. And, you know, he ships it out like he just doesn't do stuff for local guys. I believe I saw on his Facebook or Instagram story the other day that he had shocks ready to ship out to California to go run that CRA race this weekend. I believe it was when the Outlaws were in town alongside CRA at Paris. So Jake Swanson, definitely give him a call if you need anything done in the shock business. But anyway, warm-ups have been completed. We're getting ready to go for tonight's feature event here inside the River Spirit Expo Center. Field now gridding up. Here's your starting lineup. Logan Rumsey on the inside of the front row looking to go for the clean sweep tonight. To his outside is Ethan Yu. Parmley and Rico Rolls back in row number 2. Darren Stark, Timothy Smith, we mentioned him, a winner at Lernerville with the Next Level Racing 360s. That's row number 3. Mason Inman and Austin Jarouki, row number 4. Row 5, starting 9th on the inside, is Trent Wall. Had a lot of speed in his heat race, but he's got a long road to hoe in tonight's feature event. Alongside him is Brian Hughes. 6 to the inside, that's Trevor Meyer in the number 9 machine, and to his outside, a regular with USAC East Coast Sprint Car Series and former Action Track USA champion, that is Kenny Miller III. Now back on to row number 7 on the inside, that's Austin Piper. To his outside, another driver with a lot of speed in his heat race, but has a long way to go in tonight's feature event. That's Trey Garst. 8 Craig Silby and Taylor Wineland, and on the 8th, ninth and final row to the inside by his lonesome is Jonathan Paquette. So 17 cars going for 35 laps here in the River Spirit Expo Center. Should be a good one tonight. Rumsey, as we mentioned, going for the clean sweep as the iRacing pace truck pulls down the infield. It's Rumsey and you in the front row. They bring us down to the chalk stripe in turn number 4, and green flag is out. We're underway here at the Chili Bowl.
Rumsey goes bottom side, a little slider line there by Rumsey in turn 1 and 2, into 3 and 4 already. A battle for third as Parmley and Robles going at it 2 by 2. They are in the back of your front two.
Rumsey, though, has a solid advantage up front, albeit not by a lot. Yellow's going to fly here on lap number 2. Like Trey Garst might have been the cause for the yellows. We see him catching up to the tail end of the field in the 44. Here we go. We'll get a good replay here. Ski Oval TV. There's Garst in the red and black 44. As we mentioned, had some speed in his heat race. And Kenny Miller and one other car get together, and Garst was basically the odd man out, nowhere to go for the 44.
It looked like he was carrying a lot of speed into the corner, just no time to check up. And that's the thing, even with the short amount of laps we've completed, you can gain speed very quickly here, but it's so hard to stop if you're not ready for it.
Absolutely, and what we saw in front of him was just a byproduct of the Chili Bowl that just come to expect over the years. Logan Rumsey looking to continue his winning ways here with the Paquette Photography iRacing Midget Championship here on iRacing, as it looks like we're going to go another lap. It's controlled, trying to get things sorted with the lineup. Again, Rumsey and you back on the front row. Looks like we're going to go another lap here, but Logan Rumsey, Alex, looked very comfortable out in front of this field, and like I said, didn't have a large lead, but something to hang your hat on at the start of this race.
As Logan Rumsey is, I don't want to say he's the epitome of midget racing here on iRacing, but when you think of USAC drivers, you have you always had Tyler Courtney, Brady Bacon. Here, it's Logan Rumsey, Rico Robles are two guys that come to mind when you think of midget racing. And, well, it shows here again tonight with those two being in the front two rows.
Yeah, no kidding about that. But you remember back to Tulsa Shootout, Logan Rumsey had his little shootout moment bout with Brady Bacon, if everybody remembers that. That was a fun thing to watch Logan Rumsey mix it up with Brady Bacon on the racetrack and stop the ramp. But anyway, back underway, Logan Rumsey. Carter was really hooked up on the start, and he clears you down into turns 1 and 2 and up the back straightaway.
Into turn 3 and 4, Rumsey and you both go topside here. Rico Robles goes for the third spot here on the bottom side by side with Cody Parmley now, as Parmley has the run out of the corner on the top side. But Rico Robles on the entry, it looks like that bottom side is helping him out.
Parmley, remember back to his heat race, he was the guy that stuck with it down on the inside part of the racetrack and was able to roll his way into victory lane. But now I think he realizes the bottom is going to be a little bit too hard to master, as look, him and Timothy Smith have found each other back inside the top 5 as they race for the 4th spot down the back straightaway. Yellow flag now out in the speedway, 7 laps in, one car upside down in turn number 4. And that, Cody Parmley, upside down in turn number 4. What happened to Parmley? He was running inside the top 5. And also showing Taylor Wineland out of the race as well, so we're going to see what happened. Wineland wasn't a part of this, but here's he was up on the top side, running towards the back of the field. Again, just stacking up. Ket gets into him. He just keeps on rolling. We're going to see what happens to Cody Parmley right here. We were commentating on this battle right here between him and Timothy Smith. It's into 3. Paquette didn't move. He was still stuck in the middle of the racetrack. That adds up, and right front to left front right there. Car digs in, and up and over goes Cody Parmley. Anyway, back to green flag racing with Logan Rumsey out front. Ethan Yu still stalking back in that second spot, working on lap number 8. Here's Rumsey trying to go for the clean sweep. Here tonight, Timothy Smith has now stalked his way up into the third spot as we're going to go yellow yet again here on lap number 9. Jason Inman stuck up on the top of 3 and 4. Keeps it rolling, but we will go yellow.
I think Rico Robles involved in that one too, because now he is on pit road. And he was just sitting in the top 3 there on that last restart, so a little chaos must have happened up front.
Yeah, I saw Rico Robles down there on the ticker. Man, I was so confused what happened there. Maybe we'll get a replay here on Whiskey Oval TV. Smith, let's see what part of this he has, and then back to Rico Robles. Oh yeah, they were bouncing all up and down, but yeah, there you see Robles in the infield. Very odd, weird set of circumstances to say the least right there. Logan Rumsey picks the pace back up and he's out front. He's been able to really control the tone on these restarts, and Timothy Smith about bikes it up and over in 3 and 4. He keeps it running down the third spot, but Rumsey already pulling away as he digs it into the cushion off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch.
And as Smith showed there in the last corner, if you hit that berm just right enough, you can gain some speed, because right there on the bottom side, that is the only part of grip you will find. But if you hit the berm wrong, well, Tim Smith shows that one as well. You will shoot up the racetrack and into a lot of danger.
Yellow flag back out on the speedway. We'll try to figure out what happened here, but my question is, can Ethan Yu challenge Logan Rumsey, because he's been able to hang with him on the restart, just hasn't been able to make anything happen, and same goes for Timothy Smith as we're going to get a look at what happened here. Paquette, who's already had problems, is the focus of this replay. Oh wow, they were already crashing big time in front of him. Might have been Garce that went upside down in 3 and 4. So this will give us a good look back where Garce was running. Already a troubling night for... Oh, just slips up, catches the fence, and that's really all she rode for the 44. Tough night for Garce, to say the least. Underway, Logan Rumsey controlling this restart yet again. A little bit of a hop and a skip's going to allow Ethan Yu to the inside. They drag race down to 3 and 4. Yu trying to run the bottom. Not going to stick right there. Now Rumsey comes down to the bottom, shuts the door, and slides back up to the top side and turns 1 and 2.
As Rumsey goes top side, Yu goes bottom side, and then you see Wall and Smith. Wall on top, Smith on bottom. So you have this 2-line racetrack now kicking up, but Logan Rumsey on the top side still showing speed. Trent Wall now going to put his hat in the ring here for the second spot.
At Trent Wall, we talked about, he had a long way to go, but by golly, he's found his way to the front here. 15 laps completed this time at the stripe, and he's challenging Yu for second. In fact, he might clear him here through turns 1 and 2. Yu fights back down on the bottom side, and it sounds like the 52 machine has found a home down the bottom.
So the bottom side might work here, but Yu's going to have to hold on to something else if he wants to keep that second spot as Trent Wall on the top side. He's making it work. The exit is where that top side is fast. Yu has the entrance, but now Yu goes top side here into the third spot.
Timothy Smith laying back in the weeds there, as well as Austin Piper. They round out the top 5, but Logan Rumsey driving away from this field. We talked about Wall having to march his way through the field. He is up 7 spots from the start in tonight's feature event.
So you see the gap between Logan Rumsey and back to second and Trent Wall. It's over a second advantage for the 41 machine from Manchester, Pennsylvania, as now that battle for third as Yu has some problems on the berm now, as I think contact happened. Wall, Piper now in the third spot.
I saw what happened down there, and it looked like Smith drove in the corner a little bit too hard and caught the tail tank of the 52, and that sends him down the running order. Ethan Yu right now able to recover in the 5th spot, but Timothy Smith way down in 10th. One car upside down in turn number 4. That's Jarouki, and yes it is. Yellow flag flies here on lap number 23 for the 22. Down in turns 3 and 4.
That flip. I've been keeping track. We are at 4 in this feature event.
You're not too far off the mark right now. If I remember correctly, back to pre-race. See what happens here to Jarouki. He was having a solid run, just running outside the top 5. We're coming down to the end of this race. Ooh, a little too deep in the corner, biked up, caught the fence, and a couple hard hits down there in 3 and 4. Down the front end and right in the middle of traffic. Kenny Miller catches a piece. One other car got in there too, but otherwise that could have been a lot worse. And in fact, Jarouki's going to continue on. Meanwhile, there's still a race to decide. Logan Rumsey back on the throttle, and he brings it down to turns 1 and 2. The question is, does Wall have anything for him? In fact, Wall will catch the wall off at turn number 2. And here comes Austin Piper, seemingly out of nowhere, was running just inside the top 5 before that yellow. Now he's running second. Ethan Yu is around in turn number 2. Another car upside down in the corner. Can't quite make out who that is. Get it sorted out here in a moment. But Ethan Yu has been running inside the top 5 most of this race. Spins around, and Trevor Meyer was a car upside down, and his night looks like it'll come to an end on lap number 25. There's a clean restart at the front. Watch you on the corner. Oh, somebody got up on the bike. Trevor Meyer was just an innocent bystander right there. Nonetheless, Logan Rumsey has survived the carnage the best, no doubt about it, as he has dominated this one. In fact, dominated the evening. Last time in qualifying, won his heat race, and now leading the main event. 10 laps to go. Slider line for Rumsey into turns 1 and 2. Clears up nicely in front of Piper down the back straightaway. Piper, I think, has really got to change something up here. Wants a shot at Rumsey. It's going to be tough to get past the 41 at the front of this field.
Remember, during the warm-up session, Piper was sitting second quick in the warm-ups, as now that's where he's sitting on the podium right now. But Darren Stark, in the 3rd spot there. Trent Wall, those two closing in very quickly on that 2nd spot of Austin Piper.
Piper, like I said, got to change something up, but the way the racetrack is, if you change something up, especially this late in the game, and the only way you really can change it up right now is running lower in the corner. That's a big risk, you know, if your car is not set up to do that. Here's Austin Jarouki, who has rebounded very nicely. He's running inside the top 5 now with less than 5 laps to go. Remember, he had that big crash in turn number 4, and now he's challenging for the 4th spot.
Jarouki now up into the top 5 here as he is battling it out. Can the 22 machine get 2 more spots and get on a podium here after that? Or will it just be a top 5 run here as he is holding the top side here? But will that wall bite again?
Meanwhile, Logan Rumsey has checked out in a half. Over a 1.5-second advantage as he completes that lap. He'll be turning for the white flag this time by. Still, the best race on the track is between Piper and Stark. Stark docking Piper is like some internet issues for just a brief moment for Piper as he glitched in and out of 3 and 4. But white flag is out for Logan Rumsey. He looks to complete the perfect evening here inside the River Spirit Expo Center. It'll do so. Logan Rumsey wins here at the Chili Bowl. 2nd spot, Piper. 3rd, Stark. 4th is Trent Wall. 5th, Austin Jarouki. 6th, Ethan Yu. 7th, Kenny Miller. 8th, Mason Inman. 9th, Brian Hughes. And Timothy Smith rounds out the top 10.
Drake has
Thriller
him.
here tonight inside the River Spiro Expo Center. Logan Rumsey works a back in victory lane once again, as you see the results there on your screen. Dominating drive, to say the least, almost winning by 2 seconds. Impressive drive for Logan Rumsey. And Alex, you mentioned when you think of midgets on iRacing, you think of Logan Rumsey, and he definitely proved that here tonight.
Well, I told you during qualifying, I was on my high horse because Pennsylvania represents, and he does it not only in qualifying, his heat race, and his feature. When it comes to midgets, the 41 machine represents no matter what it is, and Logan Rumsey did it well and in impressive fashion here tonight. And it showed again, restarts are key, and the 41 machine being the lead car, those restarts really proved to be the vital sign for him.
I mean, he was really able to control the race on these restarts. Even when Ethan Yu was battling him lap after lap on the restarts, it seemed like Logan never really lost control of the race. Sure, you poked his nose in a few times, and Piper towards the end gave him a good run. He never really lost control of the race, and that's what I take away from tonight here. Logan Rumsey, put him out front, and he'll set the pace of the race.
But then you talk about the guys who finished in second and third. Piper and Stark, two impressive runs there. You don't want to say cautions helped them, but knocking off guys restart after restart, then getting up there into the podium spots. They put on a little show for you in the second and third spot. But Austin Piper and Darren Stark, they had a heck of a run here tonight and a well deserved podium.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for us here tonight on Whiskey Oval TV. Alex, thank you very much for joining us tonight. But don't forget, we got some more racing under the Firm Motorsports banner this week. In fact, tomorrow night with the Next Level Racing 360s. And of course, on Thursday, the big boys come to town. The Apex Autoglass and Tinting Wing 410 Sprint cars. That will be on OSRN. But of course, all that stuff put under the Firm Motorsports banner. For Alex Robinson, I'm Drake York saying so long here from the Chili Bowl.